What's going on, guys? I'm Roger Fountain, and welcome to Movie Shit, a podcast about movies and shit. Today, we're going to be talking about Evil Dead Rise. I'm going to try to keep the first portion of this spoiler free for everybody because we went to the West Coast premiere last night. Very, very fun stuff. Probably one of the funnest premieres that I've been to. Mainly because my wife helped me dress up as Ash from Evil Dead 2, I guess, was where my lacerations and stuff came in. But yeah, they had like a little costume contest, and you could like get in early or whatever. So we did that. It was a great time, man. I highly recommend if you're an Evil Dead fan to go see the movie for sure. Because you kind of know, without getting into spoilers, you kind of know what you're getting into. You know, it's gonna be gory, it's gonna be scary, it's gonna be twisted, and probably a little funny. But yeah, you see me on stage here. Boop, that's me. There's a lot of people that dressed up. Obviously. Now I know how weathermen feel. But yeah, fucking. I was the first one to get on stage or whatever whenever they announced to like come up there. Which I went to the premiere of the Weird Al Yankovic movie with Daniel Radcliffe, and they did something similar. So I knew that I was gonna get like on stage and stuff. So I was the first one to make my way up there, and somebody like, and we put this costume together just like yesterday. So just in the day. And so some of these guys, this was like their Halloween costume. So they have like, chainsaws with, that have moving little chains and like sound effects and stuff. And they have like whatever, an actual like vest and like a lot more blood and stuff, whatever. People put a lot of effort into it. And, we did a little bit, but we fucking didn't go all out. And so we knew we weren't going to win, but we just wanted to do it to get in early and have fun, right? So anyways, I'm the first one to come up on stage, and fucking somebody booed me, one. They said, "Ooh." I was like, what? And somebody was like, hey, that's Cheap Ash. They called me Cheap Ash. I'm like, all right, whatever. Fuckers. It's fine. I don't hold grudges. It's all good. Anyways, yeah, so that's me. Yeah, and they even had, so this was really cool. They did this thing. They had a bunch of Deadites, like people in Deadite makeup. Which if you know the series, you know what a Deadite is, hiding in the audience and stuff. And they had this guy read from the Necronomicon and like summon them all or whatever. It's pretty cool, man. And yeah, they just had like, I don't know if they're contortionists or gymnasts or what, but they were doing like, cool body movements and stuff. Some were just actors, I'm sure, but like screaming and stuff. It was a hell of a time. I'm sure there's videos of it you can find online. But yeah, and then after the movie, there was a Q&A with the director, Lee Cronin, and the two main actresses, Alyssa and Lily. Let me look up their last names real quick. So I'm not a complete asshole. Yeah, Lily Sullivan and Alyssa Sutherland. That's why I have difficulty remembering those. Sullivan and Sutherland are too close, and Lily and Alyssa are also close. But anyways, and they were super nice, and the Q&A was good. But yeah, so originally we saw this like a year ago or so because we were in I guess a focus group or something. It was pretty much finished and done. They just needed like to polish some of the timing and stuff. Obviously, we couldn't say anything until it premieres, but yeah. So even back then, we were like, "Oh man, this fucking movie's great." It was. I mean, it's a hell of a time. And so we're really excited that it finally came out. We could talk about it, but yeah, got the signatures. From all three of them. Very, very nice people. Apparently this is the cover of the current Fangoria. If you haven't subscribed to Fangoria and you like horror stuff, you probably should. I'm not getting like sponsored by them at all. It's just a friendly plug. But yeah, got all three of them to sign this, and this was the first one that Lee, the director, said that he saw in the wild. And then like Lily, she's like, "So when do we get ours?" He's like, "Oh, they'll be in a week from now." So sign up for Fangoria. You're gonna get you're gonna get the stuff before even the producers and creators of the stuff you're reading about gets it. Now that is timely. But yeah, cool stuff. And then also, fuck that guy that booed me because everybody that dressed up got a free shirt. So, did you get a free shirt? No, you fucking didn't. So, and then so this will make sense after you see the movie. Normally we go to these things, and we get movie premieres will give you free popcorn and free Coke or whatever. A cola. Come on, keep it friendly. For the premiere, and they don't usually give away like swag and stuff, but this time they had some swag, man. They have this Mom's Linguine, al deadite, not al dente, and so yeah, that's some of their social media promotional stuff has had a cheese grater in it, and we'll leave it at that. And they also gave away these like cool little temporary tattoos. At least I hope they're temporary and not made with the blood of humans. All right. So anyways, back to the movie. I was secretly hoping that Bruce Campbell would show up. Did not. You're welcome for that burp. But yeah, love Sam Raimi. And they had a bunch of like old school promos for the old movies before it. So this one takes place in LA. I don't think that's like a big spoiler. They've said that. And so it's the first time in like the series that they're taking out of the woods, Cabin in the Woods kind of just like makes fun of Evil Dead and like not necessarily slashers, but kind of like that campy like horror type outdoors vibe. And so this one is the first one that moves it to the city or whatever, a more it takes place mainly in like an apartment. So if you watch the reboot, it's still happening like the cabin and stuff. And there is a cameo of Bruce Campbell, but it's not a visual one. It's only like an audio cameo. So like at the end of the reboot on the first one, he shows up at the end. It's just like a black and white video of him. He just goes groovy. And yeah. So I mean, if you like the prequel, I think this one's, or not the prequel. If you like the reboot, I think this one's better than the reboot. Personally, I think it captures more the spirit of how comically, what's the word I'm looking for? Not depraved. How comically twisted the Deadites are, and like what tools they have at their disposal to like just really cause chaos and mess with people. Which the reboot, if I remember correctly, the best part of the reboot that I remember was whenever like all the blood's like raining down and she's got like the chainsaw at like the very end. Like that was iconic. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see if they do another one because I really enjoyed Evil Dead Rise, and I think horror fans are really gonna enjoy it as well. Obviously, if you're not into scary movies or gory movies, just avoid it altogether. And what are you doing here? But yeah, so with that being said, now we're going to get into spoiler territory. So if you want to stop listening now, you can, because we're going to roll right into it. But yeah, so this one is about like a mom and her 3 daughters. And one of the things that Alyssa and Lily talked about is just like, primarily the main characters in these movies, the driving force, are typically male. And so in this one, it's interesting. So it's an Irish director, and like 2 of the leads are Australians, and I'm sure the kids are like, or at least the youngest kid, which is her first movie, is British or something. I need to look that up. But anyways, it's just good to see a full cast of ladies in something this action heavy, this violent, and like it doesn't have to. And mostly the male characters are just fodder. There's a couple of neighbor characters that just get destroyed. Yeah, Nell Fisher. Yeah, Nell Fisher. This is her first movie. She crushed that shit, man. everybody did a good job. And what's weird is the director said they shot this chronologically, so that's a fucking nightmare. Why would you do that? I mean, for some things it makes sense. I guess this was like the only way he could organize it. And it's amazing to think about like the shoot time for stuff. So some of the, depending on how much planning you do for like your scripts, and like if you really just want to get like the bare necessity of your shots or whatever, and you really plan out beat by beat, page per page, frame for frame, what it's going to be, what do you need, how you're going to capture it, then it can go by like that. Like Everything Everywhere All at Once was shot in a month, right? And then this movie, and both of them just take place at one location if you really think about it. So this one only takes place in the apartment, and because, well, Everything Everywhere All at Once was shot before COVID, but this was shot during the beginning portion of COVID. And this one just takes place in the apartment. So one location really cuts down on shoot time. And so, yeah, they were able to shoot Everything Everywhere All at Once in a month. This took 4 months. And I think this one is, I'm not going to say a more simple movie, but I feel like it would have been. And the way the director talks, he's like, there's some stuff that was just like wasted time. He said he wasted like 5-hour days on like a whatever 15-second on 2 lines. He said he spent a whole day trying to get 2 lines or something. I'm like, what the fuck was that? And Lily, there's a part at the end, the finale or whatever, with like there's like this wood chipper in this basement parking lot type level, and she just like, she sits on the edge and turns around or something. It's a very simple movement. And she said she was in a harness for like 6 hours between these 2 big guys tossing her back and forth. And it was like a 2-second transition in the movie of her just turning around. She's like, I spent 6 hours in that harness. Like, why? Why? Anyways. And she just talked about like, how much, oh man, they went into great detail on how much blood there is in the movie. So there's a lot of blood. The elevator scene obviously is like what takes up the bulk of it, but they do a whole Shining bit where the elevator opens and blood comes out, and little girl and like Lily is in it, and they just come flushing out. It's pretty fun. But yeah, and then like that's what I loved, that they kept it like pretty gory. So it's like comically gory. It's like like Terrifier. Terrifier is a lot of like practical effects. There's some good practical effects and some good CG in this. The prosthetics guy was actually there, and he like stood up and everybody gave him a round of applause. Also, the OG from the first, the OG main lady Linda from the first Evil Dead was also there, and she was just in the crowd chilling. 1 second, I'll find her name. Come on, internet. Yeah, so it was Betsy Baker, and I think Ellen Sandweiss, who plays Cheryl, was also there. So that was really cool. However briefly they were there and got stood up and got a mention. But yeah, so the biggest things, like I said, we saw this like a year ago, and it's interesting to see what notes and like what they did in that whatever year of editing time, 6 months of just finessing and fixing these little beats. So this movie, I think the runtime was closer to 2 hours whenever we first saw it, and now it's like just like an hour and a half. And so they really just trimmed the fat on a lot of the scenes. But yeah, and they changed the ending a little bit. Pretty much all of the notes that, they really listened to like fans like feedback or whatever. One of the questions I remember on the questionnaire was like, what did you think of the gore? Was it too much? Was it just right? Was it too little? And I was like, it's just right, man, because there's like a little girl swallowing glass down her throat, and it's like a hyper close up on the CG like glass coming through her skin. Ugh, so good. And then she bites some guy's eyeball out and spits it into his brother's throat or something. Like, it's fucking great. And then obviously the cheese grater on the leg thing is hilarious. But yeah, man, like it's just nonstop, and that's one of the things that they said. He was like, so yeah, the shoot for this can be grueling just because once you like turn it up, like I don't know, maybe there's 5 minutes, 10 minutes of establishing the characters and the location, and then from then on, it's just fucking nonstop crazy shit, and that's exactly what you fucking want. So, you should definitely go see it, and I think it comes out this weekend. Yeah, so go see it. Tell your friends to go see it because, I mean, this is just a really solid franchise as far as I'm concerned. I've seen like the first couple of episodes of the Ash versus Evil Dead series. I need to catch up on that. There were some people there. There were like 3 or 4 dressed up from the series. Pablo, guy that calls Ash El Jefe and stuff. And from what I remember, it leans more into the comedy. Like it's a funny show. Like it's more. I mean, obviously, it's more like Bruce's tone, who's just over the top and outrageous. And I heard they're in talks of doing an animated series, so that would be cool and easier on Bruce's joints. Getting up there in age, ladies and gentlemen. Can't be pulling crazy stuff like he did in the old days, fighting stop motion skeletons and fucking little tiny ashes, or just his hand punching himself in the face. Hey, he still nailed the Pizza Papa cameo in the second Doctor Strange movie. Whenever he was just like beating himself up, so fucking funny. It's like Jim Carrey in Liar Liar when he's in the bathroom and the guy walks in on him, punches himself in the dick, and he's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "What does it look like I'm doing? I'm kicking my ass." Yeah, and Alyssa Sutherland said that, so she's the one that plays the mom, the primary Deadite. She said one of her inspirations was Jim Carrey in The Mask, and she was like, I think all attention-deprived children growing up in the 90s had at least an Ace Ventura impersonation, and I'm like, ooh, yeah. Never felt so called out in my goddamn life. But yeah, and he said that there's like a director's cut, but the director's cut's fucking probably what we saw, because like it's not, well, whatever. It's like maybe a couple of extra minutes of nothing, of just like silence in shots and stuff, and that was that's always an issue in these movies, which I understand. Like sometimes you add silence to add tension, and you got to let the film breathe. But this one, I mean, what the fans really want with this one is just like nonstop, and so I think them trimming up a lot of the loose stuff that doesn't necessarily contribute anything is just there to build suspense. Like fucking, the suspense is gone. The suspense goes out the window. We know what's gonna happen. All these people are fucked. And so I think the first cut that we saw didn't have. They had the mom say the classic line. She's like dead by dawn, right? Like that's the thing. We're all going to be dead by dawn. And so all the other neighbors and stuff chanted it in this one, and I don't think they did on the original cut, but this one was more, the things they added made it more cohesive, and like what's the word I'm looking for here? It made the story fit together better, because like they added these like pictures into the new Necronomicon or whatever, and they would always show like a monster, and then it would show what's happening to them now. Like all this stuff has happened before or whatever. And so yeah, Bruce Campbell's cameo is he's the guy that reads off. He's the priest in quotes that reads off the stuff out of the book. And the director Lee Cronin said that possibly it could be like Ash. It doesn't necessarily have to be a priest. He said, because Ash can time travel. And I was like, that's interesting. There's no way, I don't know, like the animated series could go there, but there's no way they're going to go there with the reboots, I don't think, the reboot universe. But they established that they do want to make another one, I think, because they talked about there's 3 different versions of the Book of the Dead. So first one was in the reboot, obviously, with the classic face on the human face on the cover. And then this one, which doesn't have a face. It is skin, human skin. It's still human blood. But it's still got teeth. It's got teeth on the binder. And the only way to open it is to like drip blood on it or whatever. That's just what I gather. And so, yeah, they have one more Book of the Dead somewhere. I don't know if they'll stay in an urban setting or go back to like a cabin. I think somewhere between the two, like a small town library or something, happens to have the other one. That would be interesting because then you could stay in one little town and watch the madness spread throughout like the neighbors and stuff. And I think, you know, these have always Evil Dead has always been small groups of people. You know, Ash and his friends, or this mom and this family. But if they want to maintain the main two characters that live, the final girl and the little girl, and then obviously the baby. So Lily's character is pregnant, and that was one of my favorite things. Is whenever she's like, I'm gonna drag your soul to hell, and then she like goes down to her stomach, and she's like 2 souls. I'm like, yeah, kill that fetus, get that fetus, blah, blah, pew pew. Anyways, so if they follow her, obviously she's probably gonna move out of L.A. Oh, they did talk about the dad. They talked about what is her name? Cass's dad, and wherever he's at. So I'm sure she's gonna take her to like her dad's house, wherever that is. So maybe they'll do like a small town in Wyoming or something, a different setting, snow capped. You know, blood on the snow. That would be fun for the Evil Dead series. You know, it's always been like a fall type deal, like woods that are like dying, a lot of leaves and stuff. So if it went something a little more bright, and then made it dark, I think that would be cool. Because hey, like nighttime in snowy weather is also very scary. Because the moon just bounces off the snow so nice. But anyways, I don't know where they're gonna go with it, but I'm excited to see what they do because this movie was fucking sick, man, and you should fucking go see it. All right, that's my time. Thanks for joining me, guys.